John Phelps here with my introduction to using Microsoft Paint with young students. First of all, I'm going to create a PowerPoint presentation in which we can keep a record of all the creations. So I've got a front page here. Now I'm going to add a new slide and I'm going to go with title only. I'm going to drag this text box to the bottom of the page and I'm going to change the text to size 16. I think will be plenty big enough because we're not going to be doing much writing. I'll pull this in a little bit, and then just for the use of flicking up through pages, I'm going to insert an action button which I get from Shapes right down the bottom here, and I'm going to click in here and this will say you want this button to go to the next slide. I will say OK, and that's all I need to do. I could change the color of that if I wanted to from Shape Fill up here, and now I'm going to make some more pages. So I click on slide 2 and very quickly do Control D to duplicate, and hey presto, I've got enough slides to get us going in our book. The first thing we're going to do now is go off to Microsoft Paint, and I'm going to choose the paintbrush. And the rules are you can paint, you can fill from the fill can, and Control Z to go back, no erasing. So we go to the side of the page and just going to draw 2 lines across the page. You could do 3 if you wanted to, and the rule here is to make sure that they reach the edge, and you must fill with a different color on each gap. So yes, that's worked nicely in there, and I'll go with a green. Done. I'm now going to trace around this using the rectangular select, hold my finger down and round I go, and teach the students to use Control C to copy. So I'm going to copy that, sneak back to my PowerPoint and paste. I might have to resize this, so we learn about going to the handles and just making this a little bit smaller. We're now going to page 3, back to Paint, and we are going to do Control N for a new slide. Do we need to save that? Don't need to save it. The students would do these on different days, but here we go. I'm going back to the same rules where I have got the paintbrush, and this time I'm going to go down the page with 2 lines and across the page with 2 lines, and away we go here. I'm now getting the fill can, and I'm going to use different shades of blue. Now the same colors are not allowed to touch. Whoops, there's a whoop. So I teach the students about Control Z to undo, and just make sure we go back to the paintbrush and just fill in that gap there. We might have to do the same over there. And so now I'm going to pour in the can. That looks better. Now those 2 aren't the same, so we can move those around to there, and just have a little bit of fun with these different shades and colors. What we can do is go into edit color if we want to and say, right, I would like that color, and say yep, okay, we're going to use that. So this is now available. I can put that up there as well, and I think that will be okay there. And what we'll do is just put that there to finish, and we are done. So we're going to trace around this now, and same rules as last time. Get the whole thing, or as much as you can. Control C to copy, back to page 3 and paste. You'll see that we need a little bit of resizing, but already our students are getting confidence and not having to do too much thinking, and very happy with their result. Well, 2 successful activities completed. I'm now going to head back to Paint, and for the next activity we're going to just play around with some of the shapes, and today's is going to be all about oblongs, so it could be something to do with maths that we've got in here. I'm just going to draw a couple on the page, all different sizes, and if we wanted to make sure this was a square, we hold shift, and no matter how big we do this, we have a square. Fill can coming up, and just going to fire some colors in here without thinking about it, just to make the page nice and bright and attractive, and that is all good. I'm going to put in a little grey background, and done. Get the select tool, click on the page, trace around what we have completed, Control C, back to the page, the slides, and we will paste. Make that a bit smaller and get rid of this stuff coming up. Okay, so now we're going to get a little bit more adventurous, and so I'm going to click on the brush again and start drawing, painting some real things, perhaps things we've seen in picture books, emergent readers, or whatever. So I'm going to start off here with a fish, and I'm just going to run around here, and good, I'm happy with that. And just have a little bit of play around here. I try not to be too brilliant as far as my artwork is concerned with students, so they don't feel threatened by what I've been able to do. I'll just put that in there for now. That will be okay. That should do me, and maybe that will do. Now we could put scales and all sorts of things, but we're not going to, and this is going to be a very interesting character. And as you can see here, I'm just mucking around a little bit here and not putting much thought into this. But at least it is rare. If I have a quick look here, that will do me nicely. And we're just going to go into here, and maybe we will get a greenish eye as well. Right, that's all I really needed for my first effort. But we've had a wee look there, and perhaps we should add some teeth. So just going to go back and get the paintbrush, and well, I didn't change that colour much, and there we go. This is because of all the plant food that's being eaten, and done. Now I am just going to trace, as you know, trace around this and copy. Get back here and onto the new page, and here is my first effort at putting a fish on a page or a real object. Just while I'm here, I'm going to race back to paint and try one other thing while I'm here. I'm going to do Control N. Do I want to save that? I don't. I'm now going to do a bit of a portrait of my friend, and so I'm just racing through here, and my friend has got a hairdo that looks a bit like this, and I think that we'll throw in some eyes, and so this is all drawing, no copying, and she is quite a character. I'm going to throw that in there, and that might do me. And she has got black hair, and she has got a pale face here. That will go well. I'm happy with that, and I'm just going to have a little bit of a blue eye in there, and here is a portrait of my friend. Now what I'm going to do is trace around here and just look at some things on the page here that are quite good. If you come into select and click on the transparent section, you'll notice that the white background will go. And my friend is actually a twin, so I'm going to hold Control and drag, and here we have the twin. What I'm going to do now is just going to start bringing a little bit of maths to our activities in art and Microsoft Paint. So I'm going to revisit slide 5, and I'm just going to click on here, hold Control and drag, and we're making a little counting book here. And so I have got 4 fish. I could be looking at size and things like that now, and we have got a range of math activities we could use. So I'm just going to type in here 5 fish. We could be changing color and doing all sorts of things, but that's all I wanted to look at there. And now we're going to go to the last bit that I want to look at in this particular tutorial, and it's symmetry. I'm going to choose the brush, and we are going to do the world's rarest butterflies. And so what we're going to do here is just do one wing, and the reason for that is that the computer is very, very helpful in being able to copy things and can save us time. And in the real world, computers are very good for copying. So I'm going to make this wing here, and I'm just going to put in a few wriggles so we can have some different fill colors going on in here. And I might even throw a few little bits and pieces in here that we can fill with colours. So nothing too fancy. We'll see some fancier things in another tutorial I'm going to do. So now I've got the pouring can, and I'm just going to throw some colours into here. And what a bright, beautiful butterfly this is. Just be careful that we do get in the gap. I didn't want that, so I'm going to go Control Z and make sure I get the yellow, and that will do me. I'm now going to trace around this first wing and holding Control, drag. But what I want to do now is to flip this. So if we come into here and I do flip horizontal, and we would have talked about this before, I can then move this butterfly into place. And so I'm just going to bring that right into about there. And then I'm going to cheat by just going in here and drawing what will be the body. And I'm just going to drag that over a little bit and maybe make it a bit wider. Doesn't matter how well you do that. And I'm just going to get the fill can, pour that onto there, and then I am just going to use the paintbrush. I could put some things on here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to go and get the paintbrush and some black and just put in a little bit of this. And you know, I could be doing some more things like this if I wanted to, but that will do for what I wanted to achieve. Now, last thing is I'm going to select this and trace around it. Control C, back to here, and Control V to paste my butterfly on the page. Now, just to finish off, I'm going to bring up another little example of some things that have happened just after showing these, what I've done with you, to some other people in the past. So you'll get a copy of this here. I'm just going to run this from the start and flick through some examples very quickly. So there's an overview of it. There are those first exercises that we saw, and just gradually building up. And here again, some of the maths activities that we kind of looked at. Some of it's just a little bit of fun. And here we have another of the butterflies thing. This has been fantastic, getting students photos and getting them painting over them. Here's another example where the students have painted and used their own photos. This is taking photos and taking a can and just painting over the can. And here again are some examples of some senior students doing the same sort of thing that we've done today, and some of them have started with that exact same activity that we've looked at today.